Former Skid Row frontman Sebastian Bach has been outspoken during his career, and that has landed him in some trouble not only with his former bandmates, but also with other musicians. Today, let's take a look at some of Sebastian Bach's more notable feuds. Maroon 5 frontman and the voice judge Adam Levine would give an interview in late 2018 to Variety where he said the following about rock music. "Rock is nowhere. Really, I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party. All of the innovation and incredible things happening in music are in hip-hop." Rock artists would weigh in after the comments were published, with Slipknot and Stone Sour frontman Corey Taylor responding on Twitter saying, "Just because you claim to have moves like Jagger doesn't mean you come anywhere close to rocking like Jagger. Tell that schmuck to go back to the effing voice." Sebastian Bach, meanwhile, would weigh in saying, "Rock is nowhere, but when you want your team to win the voice, you choose the song I Remember You. You're welcome." Bach was referring to the 2013 season of The Voice that had one of Adam Levine's members win because he sang the Skid Row song. Bach 4 years prior had dressed up as Adam Levine on the show Sing Your Face Off, miming the song Moves Like Jagger. You can check it out on YouTube. The feud would be reignited after Maroon 5's horrendous halftime show performance at the Super Bowl in 2019. It was following that horrific performance Bach would take to social media, writing, "Whatever he was trying to do on stage tonight is way more dead than rock will ever be." While Levine wouldn't respond directly to Bach's comments, he would respond to a fan on social media who called him a sellout, claiming that some of the best songs ever written were in rock, but that the genre hasn't evolved much in the last 20 years. Jon Bon Jovi would be instrumental in helping Skid Row early on in their career. They would share the same manager in Doc McGee. Jon helped the band nab a deal with Atlantic Records and even had them open for his band Bon Jovi in the late 80s. But the relationship between the pair soured when Jon and Ritchie Sambora, as part of taking Skid Row under their wing, got a lion's share of the band's publishing. According to Bach's book 18 in Life, also adding to the tension was when Skid Row's merchandise started to outsell Bon Jovi's, that Jon took exception with that. Bach would recall in his book that he was summoned into a room by Jon, writing, and I quote, "He stared me down and said the words, 'I'll effing own you.'" Bach would also claim that during the tail end of their tour together, the bands would play pranks on each other's camp. Ahead of Skid Row's set in Kentucky, Bon Jovi's entourage soaked Bach with ice milk, resulting in the frontman being pretty furious and going up on stage and slamming the headliner. Skid Row's crew responded by throwing a carton of eggs at Bon Jovi's crew. It was when Bach walked off stage that Jon and his road crew were waiting for him, with him writing in his book, "We saw about 60 people coming towards us. Leading the pack was Jon Bon Jovi himself. Flanking him side to side was his dad and his brother Tony. Behind them was the full Bon Jovi road crew. Jon would throw a punch at Bach but missed, and Bon Jovi's entourage would throw Bach into the dressing room and throw him up against the wall, with the frontman writing in his book, Bon Jovi Sr. pointed in my face as I was being held against the wall. He said, 'I'll effing kill you,' or something like that." But both Jon and Ritchie would eventually relax their rights to Skid Row's publishing under the condition that Bach sign a gag order, according to Louder Sound. However, decades later, it seemed like the feud was water under the bridge, as Bach would run into Jon Bon Jovi at a restaurant in London. Apart from wrestling, Chris Jericho has also built a career in the music industry, fronting the band Fozzy. A user would tweet to Sebastian Bach that Chris Jericho was starting to copy Bach's style, to which Bach responded on Twitter saying, "He definitely does, considering he mimes to a tape." The user responded to Bach saying that Jericho doesn't mime to a tape based on his experience of seeing Fozzy live, to which Bach replied, "Cool, let's see a clip of that, because every single clip I've seen is Milli Vanilli." Eventually, Jericho weighed in, tweeting, "Hi, I'm Chris Milli Vanilli Jericho. I have 5 top 30 singles in the last 5 years with my band Fozzy. I'm a huge fan of Sebastian Bach, who had 3 top 30 singles 30 years ago. I always admired him as a singer and a friend, and I still do." They would trade more barbs over social media, and Jericho would even challenge Bach to a sing-off, and eventually Bach would start trending on Twitter because of the feud escalating, and upload a screenshot of some derogatory text messages he sent to Jericho, one of which said he should stop singing for the good of mankind. In 1996, Sebastian Bach would be fired from Skid Row after supposedly booking the band to tour with Kiss as part of the reunion tour. While Bach has claimed that the band has gotten several lucrative offers to reform and has been open to discussing the possibility, his bandmates don't seem to want a reunion. During his time in the band, Bach was a lightning rod for controversy, especially during their early years. Apart from the Kiss tour, as the band went further into their career, Bach wanted a bigger role in the songwriting, with guitarist Dave Snake Sabo telling Louder Sound, "I can understand his desire to write songs. Rachel and I had been learning our craft for 11 years. Sebastian could sing 18 in Life way better than I ever could, but writing a song like that isn't something you can just snap your fingers and learn." When that distinction got lost, that's when the real troubles began. The most interesting thing about Sebastian's ego was that it grew more and more out of control the smaller the band became. Regarding reuniting with Bach, bassist Rachel Bolan would say, "Sebastian is delusional as always. He's out of Skid Row and he'll never rejoin. You might as well say Paul Di'Anno would go back to Iron Maiden. As much as he claims to hate singing our songs, his live record, referring to 1998's Bring 'Em Bach Live, is full of songs that he had very little to do with the writing of. It's amusing that he has to recite his resume to justify himself." This feud began as part of the VH1 reality show from 2006 called Supergroup. The show saw Bach, Ted Nugent, Jason Bonham, Scott Ian, and Evan Seinfeld, as well as manager Doc McGee, living together in Las Vegas to rehearse for their first live show. Their band's name was Democracy, but they would never end up producing any albums, and their set list mostly consisted of cover tunes. Ted Nugent has been a vocal critic of substance abuse, even appearing in those infamous Rock Against Drug ads that I previously covered on my channel. It was during the filming of the show Nugent tried to confront Bach about his substance abuse issues, something Bach claimed to have under control. Despite his reassurances, Nugent continued to point out Bach's drinking problem, claiming he was, and I quote, "weak and ruining his life and marriage." Bach would fire back, accusing Nugent of being rude towards certain groups on the set of the show and slam Nugent for being a draft dodger. Bach would even go as far as stating online that he would be giving away his collection of Ted Nugent albums for free. Nugent would fire back against Bach, claiming the accusations against him were untrue and that he paid homage to the forefathers of rock and roll, including Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry, quite frequently in his career. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.